Donald Trump responded to the attacks in Israel on his social media platform. He said, and I'm quoting now, "The horrible attack on Israel, much like the attack on Ukraine, would never have happened if I were president. Zero chance." Charlie Hurt joins me this Monday morning in New York. Is Trump right, do you think, Charlie?
I think without a doubt. You know, you're dealing with a neighborhood that understands strength and strength only. And the idea that you would have the Biden administration pick up where the Obama administration left off with its effort to empower Iran, and with, just last month, greenlighting $6 billion worth of money going to the Iranians, supposedly for humanitarian aid. But we know what Iran thinks about humanitarian aid and what they do with humanitarian aid. But it's part of a much larger, scheme, I think, by the Biden administration, before that, the Obama administration, to hand the whole thing over to Iran.
I think this latest episode demonstrates the weakness of this administration, which has been demonstrated since day one. Day one ends energy independence. Then we have the Afghan withdrawal. Then Putin invades Ukraine. Now Hamas is attacking Israel. You know, this is because we look weak. I mean, am I wrong on this?
I think you're exactly right. I think every one of those decisions was a decision to withdraw the United States from a position of power in the world, not just in terms of dealing with, external situations, but in terms of power to, determine our own destiny and to have our own ability to protect ourselves. And they have withdrawn every bit of that. The actors like Iran and Hamas see that as weakness, and they see that as weakness for Israel, and so they attack. And that's what happens. And I think Donald Trump is exactly right. I don't think, just like I would say the exact same thing about Putin in Ukraine, I don't think that would have happened if Donald Trump was still there.
You can't say what the end point is going to be because it's such a fast-moving situation. You can't predict.
And part of it is that that a lot of them thought that Donald Trump was crazy. And all you have to do is believe 10% that he's crazy, and that'll keep people in pretty good order.
Because you never knew what he was going to do.
Right.
You just never knew it, did you?
You never know what Joe Biden's going to do either, but for other reasons.
Peace through strength is what we had under Trump.
Yeah. Peace through strength under Trump?
Peace through strength.
Yeah, Reagan too.
I double down on that. Agreed.
Yeah. All right, got it. Moving on. China responding to the attacks in Israel. What are they saying?
They're calling for a ceasefire. Here's the quote. "We call on relevant parties to reclaim calm, exercise restraint, immediately end the hostilities to protect civilians, and avoid further deterioration of the situation. The fundamental way out of the conflict lies in implementing the two-state solution." Okay, go ahead. You're bursting at the seams here.
Well, I'm going to ask Charlie. I mean, what do you mean two-state situation? How can you possibly have two states, one of them Gaza, the other Israel, when one tries to invade the other and kill all the Jews? What's going on?
Well, if that were even on the table last week, it's no longer on the table. No. It is an absolute impossibility. And let's also remember, when people are injured in Gaza, it's called collateral damage. When people are injured in Israel, it's intentional.
Yeah, it is. But I just want to interrupt one more time. Schumer?
Yes.
Senator Schumer is in China. What's
Correct.
he doing? What's he saying?
He's calling out China. He's saying that response is not enough. You need to say more. You need to condemn this. Not to mention, Hamas is a designated terrorist group. They don't even mention Hamas in their statement calling for a ceasefire, if you will, in this two-state solution. So rightfully so, Senator Schumer, scheduled to meet with Xi Jinping in China and the rest of Asia for an economic trip, is calling them out.
Democrats are split.
Yeah, and this is going to be a real problem for them going forward, because they're going to have to figure out their fissures over this issue.
Ilhan Omar, AOC, calling for a ceasefire.
And of
China
course, and not to drag this into something more domestic, but it is true. These are the same people who were all for open borders. And suddenly, people, you have politicians in places like New York waking up saying, wait a minute, we don't know who's coming across our own border. And I think between now and next election day, you're going to have a whole lot of people changing their positions.
Charlie, thank you very much for being here. Very important day. Appreciate it.